Hello everybody, my name is Bree and today I'm going to show you how I make my paella. It's paella, whichever way you want to say it. This is a really good dish for feeding a crowd because it's something that if you prepare it ahead of time, you get it on the stove, then you can leave it to cook, then you can leave it to rest, and then you can eat it. So, and it's something that people look at and they, you get a table full of ahs. The best thing to do is to have everything ready and chopped and ready to go when you're going to do this, when you're going to cook for a crowd. And a tip that I've got is that when I cook chicken or meat or any other protein like that, I actually like to season and oil it before I put it in the pan because it stops it going all over your stove and you don't have to have excess oil in your dish. So I'm just going to get my pan on. Now this is a traditional paella pan. You could use a saute pan if that's all you have, but these things, you can get them from any kitchenware store and they're about $15, $20. And it's a good thing to have in your cupboard because you can do so many different variations of this. So the thing about this dish is that I do it in stages because, and then I sort of assemble it all after that. So what you want to do, it doesn't matter about cooking the chicken through. All I'm really doing right now is just caramelising it to add some flavour. There's about 600 grams of chicken here, which, I mean, you want enough to feed so that everyone at least gets 1 or 2 pieces of chicken. The best thing to do as well while you're browning it is to leave it, because if you start turning it, you're going to cool down the pan and you won't get the browning that you need. A good tip to know when it's ready to be turned is if it comes away from the pan easily, then it's brown. I'll get this out now. So I've got 2 chorizo there. I just let that start to bubble away because you can see all that beautiful fat that's in there. That's going to render down, and the flavour that will come out of that, the flavoured oil that comes out of that, will impart so much into this dish. And if you were to put it in straight like that, you're not going to get the same amount of flavour as if you actually do it in this process and you extract it out. The thing that I love about this dish more than anything is that it's really communal, and it comes to the table and you all dive in, and that's sort of what this event's about, you know. It's about bringing people together, it's about enjoying and sharing food with one another, and I think that, you know, family style food especially, but something like this that is really just such a communal dish because everyone eats it out of the same pot sort of thing. I just think it's perfect. Like for somebody who's actually, you know, hosting the dinner, the good thing about this dish is that once you've got it on the stove, you can walk away for 20 minutes and have a drink with your friends. And then once it's ready, you put it aside to rest, you know, and then you can have another drink with your friends. So you're not going to be chained to the stove the whole time. So you can see like there's like beautiful oils coming out of that, and this is crisping up nicely. So, okay. So we'll get this out now and try and leave as much of that oil behind as you can because that's what we're going to use to cook the vegetables. Put the capsicum and the onion in together. I don't put the garlic in first, and that is because if you do, it will burn. And there's nothing worse than that sort of acrid, burnt garlic taste, I think. I've got a whole capsicum, which I've just sliced into batons, I guess you call it. I've also sliced a whole onion up as well. So once that starts breaking down, I'll actually add the garlic. I've got 4 cloves. And I mean, look, these, you just want to get these so they're just starting to cook down. So, all right, I'm going to put the garlic in now, because it's sort of got that other vegetable to act as a buffer now for it. So you'll get the flavour of the garlic and it will start to cook, but it's not going to... Right now I'm putting a seasoning flavour layer on the onions and the vegetables, and then that will cook into them. And then I season it again. I season constantly, I never just season at the end. And so you can see this is all starting to cook down now. Oh my God, it smells so good. Okay, so I've got a lot of paprika here. There's probably about 2 tablespoons. I might not use all of that actually, but And maybe just a bit more. And this is a smoked paprika. The thing to remember with paprika is you have to fry it off. It's at this stage now where I pour a bit of wine in, so just to deglaze the pan. Okay, so I'm going to put my tin of tomatoes in. And I've got a litre of chicken stock, which I'm also going to pour in. And use the best quality stock you can find. Do not use a stock cube. And also what I've got, which this as well is definitely optional, but I always add it. I've got a pinch of saffron, which I've actually steeped in some hot water. And I do that for at least 10 minutes to try and extract as much flavour and everything out of that as well. So that whole thing is going in there as well, and that will add some beautiful flavour to this too. This is about when you're going to be about ready to go and rejoin your friends, is I pour all my chorizo back in. And I'm going to start putting my chicken back in. And like, don't just dump it back in, you know, put it around. And any juices that have collected from that chicken, because that is flavour, so put that all back in there too. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the heat up on this now because I want to bring this to the boil. And now at this stage, what I've got here, now you can use either arborio or there's a rice called calisparo, which is actually paella rice. It's Spanish, and that's what they traditionally use, but it's hard to get a hold of. So any sort of arborio rice will do. This is 2 cups worth. So what I do is I start sprinkling it around, in and around the chicken, and just disperse it sort of evenly around the pan. So that's 2 cups worth there. So this is going to make a lot. This would easily feed 10 people, I reckon, with some sides. Yep. So what I do as well is just give it a bit of a shake. I'm going to give it one last sprinkle of salt and pepper. And just make sure all the rice is immersed, because that's what you... Oh, look at the flavour in there. Okay, so now at this stage now, I turn it down onto a low heat and just leave it to bubble for 20 minutes, and that rice will just soak up all that flavour. And if during the cooking process you feel that it's getting stuck on the bottom, don't worry, because when you rest this, that will actually sort itself out. So it will actually loosen up from the bottom. And so basically what I've got now is, because you don't want to put these on too soon, because you don't want to lose that beautiful vibrant green flavour colour, but most of the liquid's sort of evaporated now. So what I'm going to do is actually put on about a cup of green peas, and I just sort of scatter them over the top there. So just a bit more veg to put in there, and give it a bit more of a shake. Just keep shaking it while you're cooking it, and also just bring this rice in sort of, occasionally bring the rice in from the sides, because that's not getting the same amount of cooking as the rest of it. So you don't want to have all big hard chunky bits of rice on the end. So that's just sort of bring it in from the middle, and in about another couple of minutes, so that cooks. You can sort of see the rice on the edges. It's still got a little bit more cooking to go, but yeah, you don't want big hard crusty bits of rice in there. So just bring it in, and this is almost done. What's really important though to do with a paella is to rest it, because what it allows it to do, the flavours all relax, but it allows the rice to soak up all the last bits of that delicious juice. And also it allows the prawns to sort of cook as well, because I put them on the top and then I turn it straight off the heat. Prawns are really, really easy to overcook. And if they overcook in this, they're going to be floury and they'll be ruined. So yeah, put them on at the very, very last minute, and then you cover it with foil and you allow the steam and the heat that's in there to actually cook them. So, but depending on how big they are, if you've got gigantic king prawns, maybe cook them for a minute before you turn the heat off. But just just to get the cooking process started. But with these little guys, I'm going to let them cook straight away in the steam, because otherwise they'll get overcooked. So. Okay, at this stage now, there's all the fluids almost gone from this baby. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scatter over these prawns. So scatter these over, and this has pretty much come right back up to the heat, so I'm going to turn the heat off right now with these. And I'm going to get some alfoil. So you can see that it's still bubbling even though I've turned the heat off. So I'm going to cover this really well with alfoil, and that's going to steam inside there now. Make sure you cover it well. You want to keep that steam in there, because that's going to finish cooking the rice. It's going to cook the prawns. And when I rest it, what I do is I preheat my oven to about 50 degrees, just to give it a little bit so it's not a stone cold oven, and then I turn it off and I rest it in the oven with the door closed. And look, it won't fit in a normal size oven fully, this size pan. So, but done. 20 minutes, come back and eat it. So basically all I do to finish this dish off is I scatter over some flat leaf parsley for some colour and some flavour, and then I put a heap of lemon wedges around the rim of the pan so that everybody can grab one and squeeze it over it just before they eat it. So there we go. This is my chicken and prawn paella, and yeah, this will feed a crowd. So.